This is a Hebrew prayer. Abanawa Yahweh, Ba'al-ha Athayan Shal Hamawan Chathath Wa Yara'ah Zakar Nawa Atha Haya Chazak Magadal Nathan Nawa Harakha Shal Natazak Wakak La'a Sha'ar Nawa Kabak Ka Kak Aisha Ha Awar Yapai Hawa'a Rakiya Mawaladath Ban Wa Shamar Nawa Ha Ainab Shal Ha Ashkawa Hababa Shal Ayanya. This is the translation. Our Father, in these times of danger, doubt, and fear, remind us you are the strong tower into which we run. Give us the spirit of strength and courage. Let us not deny your glorifying power. Make the light shine, which is your only begotten Son, and preserve us as the grape of the cluster, as the apple of thine eye. In the name of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi, the Wada Thimyad, Aman.
I gotta count the joy, ain't no taking it from me. Brothers by my side, can't be done by my lonely. Embracing everything what the Lord got for me. Through the battles and the trials, I'm just telling my story. I gotta count the joy, ain't no taking it from me. Brothers by my side, can't be done by my lonely. Embracing everything what the Lord got for me. Through the battles and the trials, I'm just telling my story. I'm just telling my story.
They say sometimes you gotta smile when you count the joy, cause truthfully nothing amounts to joy. We veterans on battlefields where we survived all of the plots and ploys. Live to arise in early morning and speak life to boys. The small things they say it really matter. Recovering from my letdowns and all the dreams that were shattered. Lost it all and got it back, that's what we call living. Meditate on His compassion, give the offer of thanksgiving. It's brick by brick, it's what it's gonna take to build this building. And every effort's present when we represent for children. Cause we ain't have a God or an image or a script. We was young and hostile and we was riding with a grip. My pops told me it's a price to pay. I count the joy, he saved my life today. No matter what been thrown my way, I'm always keeping faith. To obtain this crown, we gotta run this race. So humbly, we approach the throne of grace.
I gotta count the joy, ain't no taking it from me. Brothers by my side, can't be done by my lonely. Embracing everything what the Lord got for me. Through the battles and the trials, I'm just telling my story. I gotta count the joy, ain't no taking it from me. Brothers by my side, can't be done by my lonely. Embracing everything what the Lord got for me. Through the battles and the trials, I'm just telling my story. I'm just telling my story. Where I'm from, niggas die before diplomas. This body being lent, we not the owners. Devil want your soul, but it's the Lord that's in control. Now I shine through the struggle, that's the light they can't hold. I turn my tears into trophies and these scars full of gold. He directing all my steps, no compass, just faith. But I'm hungry for the knowledge, all I do is scrape plates. And every L is tuition, I'm just learning to count the joy. Invest in my peace because this life be so heavy. It ain't built for the weak. I'm still climbing, but I'm higher than my old views. You can't believe them lies and everything they told you. I eat the whole roll, I call it soul food. Gotta count the joy, you can't count the hurt. I die daily, a new man risen from the dirt. I put the Lord first, you better know your worth. Cause some spend their life, but they stay the same. These days I smell like a diamond. Gotta count the joy, ain't no taking it from me. Brothers by my side, can't be done by my lonely. Embracing everything what the Lord got for me. Through the battles and the trials, I'm just telling my story. Gotta count the joy, ain't no taking it from me. Brothers by my side, can't be done by my lonely. Embracing everything what the Lord got for me. Through the battles and the trials, I'm just telling my story. I'm just telling my story.
You facing the fire and you feeling the heat. Count it all joy, take a seat, the Most High is undefeated, my brethren. The scripture is the truth and not a myth. Trials hit hard, my God, but it comes with a gift. The test of your faith, you gotta stand up and grow. Don't let the pressure take over, just let the spirit flow. It's an opportunity, not a setback. Understand? James 1 verse 2, that's the Father's command. Every tribulation's a setup for a praise. You unlocking new levels in these perilous days. The enemy brain struggle, but God bringing strength. Dear Lord, I I pray that my soul that you keep. So when troubles get heavy, stand firm in your spot. It's refining you to gold. Now look what you got. Embrace the affliction. Keep your mind on the goal. Let patience have a perfect work. Watch God save your soul.
Hello, this is a prepaid collect call from an inmate at Florida Correctional Institution. This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
What's good with it, Kay? Hey, man, what's good, bro? How you feeling, man? Man, I'm alright. How you doing in there, Kay? I'm fucked up right now, bro. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna get up out of here, man. Man, you know, your time is coming. Your time is coming, man. You just gotta be patient, you know? I hear you, bro. It's just hard, bro. I'm going through so much up in here, man. Niggas trying to kill me in here, man. Man, you know, one thing I'll say, man, you just gotta pray to the Lord, man, and ask the Lord to guide you, you know, because it's getting real in these last days, you know? Yeah, man, I'm gonna try that, man. I've been chopping up with some of these Israelite brothers in here, man. They been keeping my spirits up.
No complaining, level up and choose life, yeah. When you know better, you gotta do right, yeah. Pressure make diamonds shining on sight, yeah. Trying to dim your light, battle tested for the fight, yeah. When you fall, you get right back up. Renew your mind and break off those cuffs. Had to make do when you didn't have enough. You gotta choose life, embracing what's tough, yeah.
All the life moments, either this or that.
Gotta choose.
You can make a home and be a missing hat. Claim the throne to play with Chrome, going click and clack. Ain't no kicking back, the niggas going tit for tat. It took my cousin's life and they ain't gon' give it back. He was the godchild, used to rap and call him scrap. Ain't no question if you flexing, he ain't go for that. So how you think that shaped my mind to grow up knowing that? Ain't no whole rap, nigga, nah, slow for that. Still keep my focus where it's hopeful at. That's why I'm preaching on the corners where the dope is at. I had to go through that to teach you how to cope with that. We all got a time, we don't never know exact. We don't fear find a moment even knowing that. But choose life is a blessing, that's a potent fact. Relieve the stress, it's like a present, go and open that.
No complaining, level up and choose life, yeah. When you know better, you gotta do right, yeah. Pressure make diamonds shining on sight, yeah. Trying to dim your light, battle tested for the fight, yeah. When you fall, you get right back up, yeah. Renew your mind and break off those cuffs. Had to make do when you didn't have enough. You gotta choose life, embracing what's tough, yeah.
How could it happen that we suffer in a strange land? This resurrection is eternal, this the game plan. So many people wish that I would stay the same man. Lord, give me strength so that I can help the lame stand. I choose life, that's every time, even in the face of death. This revolution got us clocked and that's on every step. I choose life cause this the way we know it's always been. They dropped the plow, them niggas nerves, you better not follow them. For me and mine, we made our choices to the end of days. This life we live will make us pay for walking crooked ways. And when it's over, crown my head with this the other side. Cause I'll be healed of all my pain from watching loved ones die. Jerusalem, we dropped the ball, but now we waking up. It's every scheme that's put in motion meant for shaking us. High exalted warriors, protectors of the weak. Dry your eye, God's children, cause this earth is for the meek.
No complaining, level up and choose life, yeah. When you know better, you gotta do right, yeah. Pressure make diamonds shining on sight, yeah. Trying to dim your light, battle tested for the fight, yeah. When you fall, you get right back up. Renew your mind and break off those cuffs. Had to make do when you didn't have enough. You gotta choose life, embracing what's tough, yeah.
All right. Shalom, shalom to everyone. Shalom to those coming in. I want to say happy fake year to everyone. Happy pagan year. Happy fake year. Happy pagan year. That's all. You better be in the chat, man. You know what day it is. 222 years independence. That's all. You know what day it is. Brother Ganon is in the chat. Shalom, sir. Shalom to the good brother Ganon. Let everyone around you know today is fake New Year Day. Happy fake year to everybody. That's all you know, man. Let me... That's more like it. Shalom, sis Azar. Shalom. Yeah, Sister Panyan, you already know people are on with the BS, man. For us, it's really just another day. The only thing I really appreciated about today was that places were open. That's really it. And we don't celebrate, New Year's, quote unquote, when it's still dead outside. Life in the earth hasn't even returned back yet. All right, come on. It's just another cold day. Really no different. Nothing new. We're still here. We're still in captivity. No, that's a fact. We do appreciate the day. Appreciate that good paid time off, man. Straight 8 hours, no tax. Yashar's only up there. You know what, Yashar, you ain't got to rub in our faces, man. We freezing up here, man. It just snowed, but it was light out, but we pushing through, man. We in New England. We're definitely going to get into that. It is not our new year. The fact that a lot of people don't even know that ancient Roman Greek societies and the history of it, and especially the architecture, has just been revamped inside these times we're living in now within American society, and aren't even aware that we have a solar calendar now that we've been following since Pope Gregory the 13th. People aren't even aware that the ancient Roman calendar was a lunar calendar. The down south is mixed. But I said weather is cold, but still nice in Florida. See, in Florida, winter to Floridians is 65 degrees. That's not winter. That's not normal. That's the cold. That's the warm. That's the coolest it gets down there, and people in Florida think that it's cold outside. It'd be nice to have 65 degrees up here. We're talking about it's not really cold, but it's cool. Must be nice, man. We're not by the equator. All right, so all of you see the title of course, to the lesson, Janus in the Roman New Year. Janus can also be spelled Janus, Janice. This is just the way I was going to spell it because of its origins coming from January. Of course, it was spelled with an I at first, Januarius. That's all says freezing. Y'all got 60 plus degrees down there talking about it's freezing. All right, come on, say we would stand the Lord's cold in his beloved summers. Y'all are not ready for the freezing cold out here. That one time we had the unity camp, everybody got sick once they went back to their home states. That's the cold out here for you. Shalom, Sis Rose. Sis Ida's in the building. Shalom. And none. You are fine down there. Even if it's 50 degrees, brother, you guys got it. We in low single digit degrees up here with snow, man. I got notified early. We were supposed to get sleet. I died. I will block you out the chat. Since she moved down there to Florida, act like she don't know what home weather's like. Since I died, you don't get out the chat, man. Yusuf said, man, 65 is cool in Louisiana, but when we drop it to 30, damn, it gets down to 30 down there. You know, you guys gonna be all right. You guys are gonna be all right. Ada said it's cold, bro. I'll trust me. I forgot. She was up here. She knows. She knows. So out to sis Ada. She knows. It's 12 degrees of snow here. See, they don't know what we go through up here in the New England states. We don't got it like you guys down there. But of course, again, you guys see the title to the lesson. You guys can wish everyone a fake Happy New Year, Happy Pagan Year. Do yourselves a favor because you know everybody's gonna be saying it. You know everybody's gonna post their stupid memes. I believe somebody last year said just drink water and mind your business all year. Not exactly sure how that's supposed to lead to any kind of growth or prosperity, but what else we got? We have all the new memes, people entering the gym, diet changes, jobs, toxic dating, the dating market, dating apps. We have everything that's to come pertaining to these quote unquote New Year's resolutions everyone has, but literally it's the same BS and nonsense every single year. That's second thought. That cold down there is bearable cold because y'all just need one layer. Y'all see I have this on and I got the underneath on. Y'all are gonna be all right, man. Good night. I'm not hearing you, brother. Y'all at 50 plus up there, man. Y'all come up here, we trade places. You know what's funny? Side note before we get into the lesson. There's a lot of older Edomites up here that have double homes. I'm sure you guys know some down there that have homes up here in Mass and in other New England states and have homes in Florida and in other southern states. So that way, when it's too hot down there in the summers, they come up here. But when it's cold up here, they go down there during the winter season to enjoy more of the hotter weather. I believe you go into settings in your YouTube account settings to get that changed around and edited. Right, exactly. Come on, we go down there. Yo, it feels a lot better down here than it does up there, man. Go on, you know that CT code is different. I was telling Shamat when we used to do camp. Go on, you remember at the gold building, as soon as the sun hid behind the building and the wind hit, yo, that's I have no idea. Kawan would become a ninja at camp, man. That's a move down. Listen, when I came down there, Gawar rebuked me because I still had winter clothes coming down there. I was wearing my Adidas pants. He rebuked me. He said, "You better go get some summer clothes, man. Stop acting like you still up north." He rebuked me because I brought down full clothing to the sweater. I said, "Yo, man, I know what to pack." He said, "Yo, go buy some summer clothes and stop playing around." What did he say? Yo, that's a fact. Gabar Malak was out there that one time doing camp with us. Gabar Malak, though, he can vouch because he's down there in Florida now. That one camp we had and it was freezing out, man. Your fingertips freeze. That's it. Yo, if you were brother reading, you flipping the pages get stuck. You gotta fight through. Oh man. Can't stay in the windy city there. Oh, Kwam, you would know. What's that? It's not just the cold. When the wind hits, you're done. But I said go to North Florida. Oh man, North Florida. I think Central Florida below is where the heat's at. North Florida, I wouldn't know. Cold off. Oh yeah, of course. That wind when it hits, man. All right. So again, nevertheless, let's get into the lesson. Gladly send this out and share it so we can wish everyone a fake pagan New Year. You already know people already have their goals in mind and what they plan on doing. I'm actually going to, for this lesson tonight, I'm going to go back into the previous presentations I had before we go into the New Year's presentation. That way we kind of getting understanding and fill in for the space and gap of time before going into the new year to get the proper understanding of everything that we're going to go into. And then before we get into the articles, of course, I'm going to give the presentation and see how. Let's see it. It worked out. Aliyah 144. You good out? But we're going to go back into the previous presentations and then go into the Roman New Year presentation before we get into the articles. That way we get into the subject at hand and the theme of class tonight. So let me share my screen. Julian calendar. Share. All right. All right. Everyone see this. Let me just be sure. Everyone see this. Yo, come on. It's cold up here, man. Come on. All right, so you guys should remember this, the Julius Caesar presentation and the Julian calendar, the origins for where all this starts. Gaius Julius Caesar, born July 12th in 100 BC, living until March 15th in 44 BC. Until his death and assassination in 44 BC. He proclaimed himself dictator only for his rule to last less than a year. His death led to many events that much led to the fall of the Roman Republic and paved the way for the establishment of the Roman Empire. While alive, he led many social and governmental reformations, which included the creation of the Julian calendar. All right, the Julian calendar was introduced by Julius Caesar between 45 and 44 BCE and replaced the old Roman calendar previously in place by the old Roman ruler Numa Pompilius. The older Roman calendar was a complicated, reformed lunar calendar based on the phases of the moon. To fit the times more concisely, Julius consulted the Alexandrian astronomer named Sosigenes and created a more regulated civil calendar, a solar calendar based on Earth's revolutions around the sun. A common year in the Julian calendar consisted of 365 days divided into 12 months, as it was in the solar dominant calendar. In this calendar, every 4 years equals a leap year, with a leap year added into the month of February. The month was added into the old Roman calendar. Due to miscalculations within the calendar of the leap years, which was supposed to be counted every 4 years, and after Caesar's death, the calculations being mishandled, this led to future problems for the nations down the road. February 29th is the day for when the leap year occurs, but there was at one point in history a February 30th. February 30th, the nation of Sweden added February 30th to its calendar in 1712, following an earlier calendar era. The Soviet Union also observed February 30th in 1930 and in 1931 in an attempt to cut the work week from 7 days to 5 and introduce 30-day months for the year. In 1700, Sweden, including Finland at the time, planned to convert from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar. May I remind everyone, 1582 was the year that the Gregorian calendar was implemented. Everybody, I believe, fell asleep on October 4th and woke up October 15th. In 1700, which was a leap year in the Julian calendar, it was not a leap year in Sweden. In February 30th in 1712 came into existence in Sweden when the Julian calendar was restored and 2 leap days were added that year. Also a note, the Gregorian calendar was institutionalized and created in 1582, but European nations did not immediately switch over to implement it. Some nations took decades and centuries to do so. And we know that even Saudi Arabia, that also had a lunar calendar, the Ishmaelites, descendants of Ishmael, had their own lunar calendar that they kept. And as Kawan put, yes, indeed, they were changing the times. So as all of you guys see here with the additional facts, the Julian calendar is 13 days behind the Gregorian calendar. It was the most predominant calendar in use for roughly 1,600 years before the switch in 1582. This calendar, like the Gregorian, is man-made and not biblically oriented. It is predicated upon the solar luminary, the sun. When the Gregorian calendar came into effect in 1582, several nations waited decades and even centuries to make the change over. I emphasize that because everybody thinks that the calendar we have now is correct and, aren't even aware that it's really pagan and idolatry rooted from the months of the year to the days of the week. Saudi Arabia switched from its lunar-based Hijri calendar since its founding in 1932 to the Gregorian calendar in 2016. All right, next one. Just so that this is kept in mind, you guys should remember this one. The modern day calendar origins, the Roman beginnings. This lesson was last year on August 21st. This is the Roman Empire at its greatest extent in 117 AD. You guys see us on the map: Judea, Egypt. You see Arabia, Mesopotamia. They couldn't go far into Iran and try to take over the Parthians. Spain, of course, is that Lusitania. You see Northern Africa, Carthage, Cyrenaica around there. They took over Greece, Anatolia, Cilicia, Syria, of course. All right, the beginning. Now, this is attributed to Romulus himself, but the Roman calendar originally was determined by the cycles of the moon and the seasons of the agricultural year. Beginning in March, in the spring, and ending in December with the autumn planting, the year was 10 months long and had 6 months of 30 days and 4 of 31 for a total of 304 days. There were 10 lunar months actually that comprised about 295 days. Since each month began and ended with the new moon, this is according to the ancient Roman calendar, that day would have belonged both to the new month and the old and must have been counted twice. The remnants of the earlier calendar can still be recognized in the numbered names for Quintilis, July, Sextilis, August, Sept, 7, October, 8, Nov, 9, and Dec, December 10th. As we count decimals, it goes by tens. The 2 months of winter and when there was no works in the field were not counted. It is recent, 1931, 1932 is not even 100 years as of yet. It's close, but not even 100 years ago, roughly, they still had a lunar calendar in existence. The last sentence, the 2 months of winter when there was no work in the fields were not counted. The lunar calendar that they had was kept for agricultural reasons. What we have to understand is that from the Christmas class last week, for agricultural reasons, including the lighting of the Yule log, the wood, and lighting it, they kept those traditions and, the mistletoe and everything else to keep hope alive, because winter was dark at the time when it's not sunny out, or it's not as sunny out compared to the vernal or the autumn equinox, the spring and fall seasons. So because of that, they had these traditions, of course, in keeping Christmas, lighting fires, lights. We know Christmas every single year. People are lighting, their homes up when the Grinch, candy canes, snowmen, so on and so forth. That's all ancient pagan heathenistic tradition to light up everything at that time to keep the tradition alive, that eventually when the sun comes back, it will be the rebirth of the new season, quote unquote. And of course, now with the adaptation of the new year being from January, we now are able to see how this came about from the Roman Empire, and it being implemented across the world with the Julian calendar, then the Gregorian calendar, and now here we are in 2026 today, being the first day of this modern day solar calendar's new year, in which we have. So in early ancient times with the Romans, December and January were not counted. January and February were not counted. And you see here September, October, November, and December. They were just 7, 8, 9, 10. They were numbered months, but they weren't given a name particularly. Numa Pompilius, the second king of ancient Rome, born April 21st, 753 BC, was firstly responsible for reforming the calendar, which originally contained 10 months. The year started with Martius, Mars equals March. The calendar year was 304 days long, and winter was not calculated officially by months. It was not kept in track or kept by record. They considered it monthless until spring came in again. So again, there was no January or February. They just lit, the Yule log. They had their Christmas lights and celebrations up until New Year came in again when it was spring. So when the sun would come back out, Sol Invictus, the worship of the sun, so on and so forth, this was kept to keep them festive and alive at this time when it was during winter, when it was dark. Sometime during the middle of the 8th century BC, King Numa decided to add 2 more months and keep the months and days in order according to harvest and agricultural timing of the seasons. According to Livy, a Roman historian, it was Numa Pompilius, the second king of Rome, who divided the year into 12 lunar months, according to the history of Rome. 50 days, says Cicerinus, were added to the calendar and a day taken from each month, and 30 days to provide for the 2 winter months, January and February, both of which had 28 days. This was a lunar year of 354 days, but because of the Roman superstition about even numbers, weird, an additional day was now added to January to make the calendar 355 days long. Auspiciously, each month now had an odd number of days. March, May, July, and October continued to have 31. The other months, 29, except for February, which had 28 days. Considered unlucky, it was devoted rites of purification, Februa or Februalia, and expiation appropriate to the last month of the year. Now for the months of the year. January, what we'll be going into next. All the months of the calendar are pagan, are pagan and idolatry related. Starting now with January instead of March, because of the calendar being revised, January, which is English for the Latin Januarius, comes from the Roman god Janus. Janus is a 2-headed god known and associated as the god of beginnings, endings, gates, transitions, times, doorways, and passages. January 1st, now being the start of the new year, is symbolized when said, Happy New Year, due to the reverence this particular god receives every year, signifying one year ending and another beginning. February. Februus is the ancient god of purifications, is also similar to the Roman Febris, which is connected with something that needs to be purged, hence purification. Febris is the Roman goddess of fevers. Februus is also to honor the ancient Februa, hence Februalia. Februalia is the festival of washing and purification. Februus's month was February, and the Latin Februarius is the name given for the purification festival that took place on the 15th of that month. This festival also goes by another ancient name known as Lupercalia, which we know is in direct correlation with Valentine's Day. You'd whip women, I believe, with wolf skins, and apparently by whipping and beating their bodies, they become more fertile, to say, and they would also be sleeping with one another, married, unmarried, prostitutes, whatever it is, so on and so forth, and would be engaging in orgies at these particular festivals going on. Of course, it was reveling, drinking, partying, eating, and drinking, which is nothing new within the culture of America today. I also want to say, if you guys remember the class Crimes and Criminals, when we looked at the FBI database tables, at the bottom of the list with the crimes pertaining to drunk driving, drunkenness, pertaining to those categories, every single table from 2010 all the way up until 2019, every single percentage and statistic for whites being arrested for crimes related to alcohol is all above 80%. No matter where you go, no matter what data table you want to look at, white people make up the majority percentage of all drunk or drinking related crimes and arrested. All of them. They make up the most and biggest percentage of all the arrests pertaining to anything with alcohol. So it's no wonder you got your fraternities, colleges, universities, whatever it is, you name it. They make up every single last one. Speaking of side note, really quick, you brothers and sisters in Florida, there was a case with this college girl that was sadistically sexually assaulted, apparently wanting a bag of, won't disclose it particularly, but drugs, and was supposedly gang sexually assaulted, and people are wanting to find out what happened and what took place, and people are speaking up about it, but it's like, again, this is the culture that they invest in. This is nothing new that Esau has been doing. This is what they do at these particular junctions, and whatever it is that they're doing, alcohol is involved, drugs are involved, and with everything pertaining to that, this is what they do. Good night. Did you hear about it? I know you guys must have heard about it, but it was going crazy because nobody was speaking up about her being that what happened and what took place with her. Nobody was really wanting to come forth with who was involved and who was included in what happened to her. So I'm only bringing that up as to say, like, these festivals, quote unquote, and everything they're doing, like we read in Maccabees, like what they were having sex in our temple, and we're doing everything you can imagine ungodly, which is why when the priest and the people saw it, they immediately just cried and broke out into complete depression because of how disgusting everything that they did was in defiling the temple, if you can understand. So again, with Esau, it's nothing new that they do. It's just the culture. Excuse me. It's the culture that they envelop themselves in, and this is what they do. All right, March. March from the Roman god Mars. In Latin is Martius, is the god of war and agriculture. In Greek mythology, his equivalent was the Greek god Ares. The Mars festival at Rome occurred in the spring and fall. During his reign of Augustus Caesar, he became the personal guardian of the emperor in his role as avenger. His animal was the wolf, which is a symbol of Rome. His planet is also named after this deity. April. The Latin for April is Aprilis, given by the Romans. The etymology stems from the Latin word perire, meaning to open, an allusion to the season of spring where flowers bloom and open. The month has been more etymologically associated with the Greek goddess Aphrodite, who is associated with love. Comparison to the Romans, their goddess was Venus, who was the goddess of love, sex, beauty, and fertility, and is also, who one of the planets is named after. You have May. The month of May is named after the Roman goddess Maya, who oversaw the growth of plants, fertility, and spring. Maya was considered a nurturer and an earth goddess, explaining the connection in the springtime month. In short, it stands for Maya's menses, meaning Maya's month. Since the establishment of Mother's Day is in the early 19th century, Mother's Day is celebrated as the second Sunday of May. Interestingly enough, this month being named after a Roman goddess, and Mother's Day also occurring in the month of May. You have June. This is named after the goddess Juno. She is the queen of the gods, the goddess of marriage, and the protector of the Roman Senate. She was the wife and sister, disgusting, of Jupiter, which is another planetary name, and also the king of the gods in Roman mythology. Her equivalent in Greek mythology is Hera, the wife and sister, disgusting, of Zeus, who is the king of the gods. July, before it was changed to that, was named Quintilis, meaning the fifth month in Latin from the original Roman calendar. July came about to being named after and in honor of Julius Caesar. He was a Roman general, statesman, and future dictator of Rome, who was eventually assassinated. Due to this month being his birth month, the Roman Senate named it after Julius Caesar's death in 44 BC to honor him. It is now the seventh month in the Gregorian calendar. You have August in the original calendar. In the Latin sextilis, it means 6th month, meaning originally, but it is now the 8th month of the Gregorian calendar. In 8 BCE, the month name was changed to honor the first Roman emperor, Augustus Caesar. Augustus, coming from the same Latin word, means consecrated or venerable. All right, and then the rest of the months, September, October, November, December, originally placed in cardinal order, have Latin roots for their numerical placement. Septem, 7, Octo, 8, November, 9, Decim, 10, Decimals, Octopus, stuff like that. All right. And finally, all right, the Roman New Year. Let's get into it. Today is January 1st, first day of 2026. This is the Roman god Janus, depicted as two-headed god, of course. They make them contrastingly different, and I'm going to get into why. One looks younger, the other looks older. More depictions. I put up pictures, that way we get the visuals to see. This also is related to, I believe the sign is Gemini, the two-headed, this is the zodiac sign. Also, the zodiac signs also correspond to time as well. The BS people like to put out there. These are all ancient depictions of the Roman god Janus. He has the key in his hand, and he has that for a reason. Real life statues that they've carved and made out of him. This is coinage of Janus. No different than what the United States does now. Honoring the same Edomites all on their coins. Nothing new under the sun. All right. Now for the breakdown. Janus, in Roman mythology and belief, Janus, who is the pagan double-headed god, he's two-faced, is the god of many things, including beginnings, gates, transitions, time, duality, doorways, passages, frames, and endings. The new Roman year. The worship of Janus traditionally dates back to Romulus and the period even before the actual founding of the city of Rome. There were many Jani, i.e. ceremonial gateways in Rome. These were usually freestanding structures that were used for symbolically auspicious entrances or exits. Particular superstition was attached to the departure of a Roman army, for which there were lucky and unlucky ways to march through a Janus. The most famous Janus in Rome was Janus Geminus, which was actually a shrine of Janus at the north side of the Forum. It was a simple rectangular bronze structure with double doors at each end. Traditionally, the doors of the shrine were left open in the time of war and were kept closed when Rome was at peace. According to the Roman historian Livy, the gates were closed only twice in all the long period between Numa Pompilius and Augustus from the 7th to 1st century BC. Some scholars regard Janus as the god of all beginnings and believe that his association with doorways is derivative. He was invoked as the first of any gods in regular liturgies. The beginning of the day, month, and year, both calendrical and agricultural, were sacred to him. The month of January is named for him, and this festival took place on January 9th, the Agonia. There were several important temples erected to Janus, and it is assumed that there was also an early cult on the Janiculum, which the ancients took to mean the city of Janus. Conganon, they have the nerve to watch a watch night service during this time of year and don't know what the slaves endured during that time. Absolutely. Janus. He is also known as the gatekeeper of the heavens. Janus's appearance stands out amongst the Roman pantheon because he's two-headed with both faces in both directions. Both faces represent the dualities coming to life, One head shows the past and the end, the other beginning and the start over. The lock and key represents this. The key opens the door, leaving the past behind and opening the door to new beginnings. I hear, the phrase "New Year, New Me." The faces can be old and young, showing you are younger in the past and older as you age. This is human understanding, but the Romans just deified this concept themselves into Janus. Janus, according to the Romans, is looking what behind in a melancholic manner at the past, but also brightly ahead towards the future. Janus in the new year. And the new year was moved from March to January because that was the beginning of the civil year. The month that was at the beginning of the civil year being March, which began the new elected office of two new Roman consuls, with that being the highest officials in the Roman Republic, beginning their one-year term. In 153 BC, a significant change occurred in the Roman calendar that would further solidify January's status as the beginning of the year. The change was related to the tenure of Rome's highest elected political officials. In the Roman Republic before 153 BC, the Roman consular year didn't start on January 1st. The consuls who were elected annually would begin their tenure on March 15th, known as the Ides of March. This date is very important because in the original Roman calendar, there were 10 months, with January and February not being added until the 7th century, but because of military and political needs had to be met. The consular year now also needed to begin earlier in January because of the response to the Lucanian War in Hispania, which is in modern-day Portugal and Spain. So that being said, this is why. The decision to start elected offices also allowed to organize and mobilize military campaigns efficiently at the beginning of the year. The Roman Senate decreed consuls would assume office on January 1st due to religious observances honoring Janus as the god of beginning and transitions. This meant that the official state calendar now began in January, further emphasizing the month now beginning the year. The start of the consular year was a very pivotal moment in Roman history because it marked the transition from a calendar system based primarily on agricultural cycles and religious observances to one more aligned with administrative and political needs. So this past year, going back to 2025, all of you know Trump came in office. When did the election start? In November. That's when they begin. You have the following because they campaign, speech, visit here, visit there. They're trying to get votes, sponsors, so on and so forth, conventions. They're doing all of that from November when it starts to December, and then January, they take office. All America did and what America's doing is just observing what's been followed and what's been kept in ancient Rome. That's all they're doing. And because of that, now the calendar year no longer begins in March, and now begins in January. And also what it does is it allows 2 months of free more room and more space to begin things at an earlier time and date and to officially set the standard for things. And now it allows them, the Romans that is, to now set more things aligned with a military, administrative, and political needs basis. So that happening with the election in this past year, now Trump is in office, this is exactly and precisely what took place. Now a consul, because this is the ancient Roman Empire, it is an official appointed by the government to live in the foreign city and protect and promote the government's citizens and interests there. A consular is relating to the ancient Roman consuls. It is 2 annually elected chief magistrates who jointly ruled the republic. And this is a consular now because the consul we have in office is President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance. All America did is just revamp and remix everything that the ancient Romans did. There's nothing new under the sun. Come. Nothing new under the sun. All right. History of the New Year's. In 46 BCE, this is from simpletoremember.com, a New Year history. In 46 BCE, the Roman Emperor Julius Caesar first established January 1st as New Year's Day. Janus was the Roman god of doors and gates and had two faces, one looking forward and one back. Caesar felt that the month named after this god, January, would be appropriate door to the year. Caesar celebrated the first January 1st New Year by ordering the violent routing of revolutionary Jewish forces in Galilee. Look at that. Would you look at that? Caesar celebrated the first January New Year by ordering the violent routing of revolutionary Jewish forces in Galilee. Nice. Keep in mind, when the Maccabean dynasty came to an end, it was in 63 BCE. So this occurring roughly with the implementation of the calendar was less than 20 years later that this happened. Eyewitnesses say blood flowed in the streets. Josephus also recorded this. In later years, Roman pagans observed the New Year by engaging in drunken orgies, a ritual they believe constituted a personal reenacting of the chaotic world that existed before the cosmos was ordered by the gods. As Christianity spread, pagan holidays were either incorporated into the Christian calendar or abandoned altogether. We went into Christmas last week about that to see how Christmas has absolutely nothing to do with Christ or the Bible. By the early medieval period of the most Christian Europe regarded Annunciation, which is March 25th, as the beginning of the year. This was gone into on Christmas as well. According to Catholic tradition, Annunciation Day commemorates the angel Gabriel's announcement to Mary that she would be impregnated by God and conceive a son to be called Jesus. And that's why 9 months later, on December 25th, they held to the tradition that Christ, i.e., was born on Christmas, and they kept Sol Invictus, the invincible sun, the ancient Romans did, during that 7-day feast that all of this occurred on. So interestingly, it lines up that they kept their pagan holiday tradition that kept them aligned with what they believed the date to be Christ's birthday. After William the Conqueror, aka William the Bastard and William of Normandy, became the king of England on December 25th in 1066 AD, he decreed that the English return to the date established by the Roman pagans on January 1st. This move ensured that the commemoration of Jesus' birthday, which they believed would be on December 25th, would align with William's coronation and the commemoration of Jesus' circumcision on January 1st, would start the new year, thus rooting the English and Christian calendars in his own coronation. William's innovation was eventually rejected, and England rejoined the rest of the Christian world and returned to celebrating New Year's on March 25th. Interestingly enough, that's the same time, and around the same frame time, we have Passover. About 500 years later, in 1582, Pope Gregory XIII abandoned the traditional Julian calendar. By the Julian reckoning, the solar year comprised of 365.25 days, and the intercalation of a leap day every 4 years was intended to maintain correspondence between the calendar and the seasons. I'm going to skip down a little bit. I'm not going to read everything. So from the Julian calendar, this slight inaccuracy caused the Julian calendar to slip behind the seasons about 1 day per century. Although this regression had amounted to 14 days by Pope Gregory's time, he based his reform on the restoration of the vernal equinox, then falling on March 11th, to the date had 1,257 years earlier when the Council of Nicaea was convened in March 21st, 325 AD. Pope Gregory made the correction by advancing the calendar 10 days. The change was made the day after October 4th, 1582, and the following day established as October 15th. So everyone went to sleep on October 4th and woke up on October 15th. The Gregorian calendar differs from the Julian calendar in 3 ways. No century leap year is a leap year unless it is exactly divisible by 400, which is 1600, 2000, would be 2400, 2800, and future later years. And the years are divisible by 4,000 are common, not leap years. And once again, the new year would begin with the date set by the early pagans, the first day of the month being January 1st. Interestingly enough, I also wanted to highlight this as well. On New Year's Day in 1577, Pope Gregory XIII decreed that all Roman Jews, under pain of death, must listen attentively to the compulsory Catholic conversion sermon given in Roman synagogues on Friday, after Friday night services. On New Year's Day in 1578, Gregory signed into law a tax forcing Jews to pay for the support of a house of conversion to convert Jews to Christianity. On New Year's in 1581, Gregory ordered his troops to confiscate all sacred literature from the Roman Jewish community. Thousands of Jews were murdered in the campaign. Throughout the medieval and post-medieval periods, January 1st, supposedly the day on which Jesus' circumcision initiated the reign of Christianity and the death of Judaism, we know that's fake, that's not actually real, was reserved for anti-Jewish activities, synagogue and book burnings, public tortures, and simple murder. The Israeli term for New Year's night celebration, Sylvester, was the name of the saint and Roman Pope who reigned during the Council of Nicaea. The year before the Council of Nicaea convened, Sylvester convinced Constantine to prohibit Jews from living in Jerusalem. At the Council of Nicaea, Sylvester arranged for the passage of a host of viciously anti-Semitic legislation. All Catholic saints are awarded a day on which Christians celebrate and pay tribute to the saint's memory. December 31st is Saint Sylvester Day. Hence, celebrations on the night of December 31st are dedicated to Sylvester's memory. This was written back in 1936. It absolutely does sound familiar. When they celebrate, we're the ones that suffer for it. All right. All right. This is from Mike Ford. So it's 3 years ago, roughly. Is New Year's Eve a pagan holiday? Starts off perfectly with Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 2 when it says, "Learn not the way of the heathen." We know that we are in Christmas season, and that time of year true Christians dread when we find ourselves humming along with the pipe and the music at the store and suddenly realize it is a Christmas tune. They obsessively and annoyingly play every single day over the damn radio. The church has published many messages over the years about the pagan origins of Christmas, but it is rare to hear or read about New Year's Eve celebrations that occurred just a week later. This article is intended to fill that gap. The internet is shockingly devoid of useful articles on the subject. Most of the more popular ones are from Church of God groups. One of these, The Truth About New Year's, is a well-written article by William H. Ellis appearing in the 1964 Plain Truth magazine. Though it is more than half a century old, it holds up well, so we will draw a few quotations from it below. In an online forum, an anonymous user titled his entries, "True Christians should not celebrate New Year's because it's pagan to the core." Some commenters agreed, but others did not. One very indignant person wrote, "There is nothing wrong with going to church for a watch night service to bring in the new year in the house of God." The nun just mentioned that. In our current calendar year, the new year is January 1st. While it makes no sense for a new year to start in the middle of winter, absolutely, it is what it is, and we can't change the calendar now. No, but you don't have to follow it. This is sick. This is not the biblical days when the new year started in March. We live in the USA and the new year begins January 1st here. As long as you're not involved in drunkenness, lewd behavior, you're not doing anything wrong. You're not even supposed to be acknowledging these traditions anyway. So where does the New Year's Eve celebration come from? Is it wrong to participate as long as we are not involved, as the commenter said, in drunkenness and lewd behavior? Exodus chapter 12 and verse 1 and verse 2, the Lord spoke unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this is the where the scripture comes from. "This month, speaking of Abib or Nisan, shall be the beginning of your months. It shall be the first of the month of the year to you." What the? Get out of here. Nope. What did I just do? Okay, there we go. So the new year begins in early spring, generally falling in mid to late March or early April. God notes this, but says nothing more about it. It functions only as the time of the marker. 2 weeks after the year begins, Passover on the 14th day and the Feast of Unleavened Bread on the 15th day through the 21st days, both festival times occur. And interestingly enough, if you guys remember, they also had the Ides of March on March 15th. Nothing new. It seems as if God mentions the new year in passing. That is only essential for calendar matters. Now, where does he tell us to throw a party, count down to the last few seconds of the old year, drink champagne, kiss our partner, or worse? How did all that come about? In his Plain Truth article, Mr. Ellis quotes a book from a book, 4,000 Years of Christmas, A Gift of the Ages by Earl W. Count. Let me quote a little passage here. Mesopotamia is the very ancient mother of civilization. Christmas began there over 4,000 years ago as the festival which renews for the world another year. The 12 days of Christmas, the bright fires and probably the Yule log, which we went into last week, the giving of presents, the carnivals with their floats, the merrymakings and clownings, the mummers who sing and play from house to house, the feasting, the church processions with their lights and song, all these and more began their centuries before Christ was born, and they celebrated the arrival of the new year. Where else should I go? I'm going to skip down. The incredible morphing plays. On page 28 of 4,000 Years of Christmas, Mr. Count writes, the first day of Saturnalia shifted during the lifetime of Rome and now began around the middle of December and continued until January 1st. And its midst was December 25th, the day as the Romans calculated when the sun was at its lowest ebb. Now, I'm going to skip down. Let's read about more of the anti-Jewish sentiments, anti-Semitism that was mentioned. Aside from his other faults, Pope Gregory XIII was the anti-Semite of the first order. U.S. News and World Report ran an article in December 1996 that explained some things about Pope Gregory. On New Year's Day in 1577, this Pope decreed that all Roman Jews under the pain of death must listen attentively to the compulsory Catholic conversion sermon given in the Roman synagogues after Friday night services. There's an old picture of, if you guys remember, there's an old picture. Matter of fact, let me find it. Old black. I'm going to find this picture. I'm going to share this tab instead really quick. This photograph shows a 107-year-old Jack Riddle and his wife Rosie, both who were former slaves, in front of a group of Klansmen, which one dressed as Santa Claus, gifting them a radio in 1948. It depicts an apparent show of charity on the part of the KKK for a photo opportunity. I know you guys have seen this. This is 1948. This is 3 years after World War II. So let me zoom in. We went into the fact that St. Nicholas is black and was a Jew himself. And you see the two here that were formerly slaves. 1948, 1865. They were both 100. They were both 107. 1948 from 1865 is 83 years. They lived so old and so long, growing up from slavery. Matter of fact, let me do the math on that. They were both born back in 1841 and lived long enough for these devils to take this kind of picture. This is wild. And only took this opportunity. This is, you guys ever hear Edomites say, I have a black friend, or they make some kind of BS nonsense excuse to say that they're not racist? This is exactly what this picture is. Only for 100 years of lynching to take place after the Civil War during the Reconstruction era. The Reconstruction era late into the 1940s, if not 50s. I know you've seen it. And I'm sure they never let anybody forget, because the 1950s to 60s is really not that far off. Like, if you really think about it, like some of you that may be 30 and 40 and up, you have parents and grandparents that are old enough to tell you these kind of stories. I'm gonna go back to the article. But again, this is not far off. It's really not. Like when we go into the history of Puerto Rico, when the United States took Puerto Rico from Spain in the Spanish-American War in 1898, and Puerto Rico and the other territories were sold to the United States. Puerto Rico is a little bit over 100 years old. Like, everything that's happened and taken place in Puerto Rico is not that far off, which is why in the islands, like, you still have things where it's still kind of old styled, old fashioned, if you will. Like, it seems like they're not 100% up to date with technology and how things work. Not that they're not at all, but it's like those are still nations that have not, if you will, become Americanized fully, because they're not America, though they are territories, quote unquote, that have been invaded and have been taken over and infiltrated by the United States. So just a little bit more on the history of the anti-Semitism. On New Year's Day, 1578, Gregory signed a tax into law forcing the Jews to pay a support of house of conversion to convert Jews to Catholicism. Nothing happened within the Alhambra decree expelling Jews from Spain as well. On New Year's in 1581, Gregory ordered his troops to confiscate all sacred literature from the Roman Jewish community. Thousands of Jews were murdered in the campaign. What I want to help all of you understand is that everything that I just read here is no different than what Antiochus did in his time. They burned the books, they kill everybody, forcefully force them to convert by the way of death, and we're the ones on the suffering and on the short end of the stick, if you will. All right. Last article. A history of New Year's Eve. With the tough year coming to an end, we can't help but hope for a better and brighter future. Of course, the transition into another year wouldn't be complete without celebrating New Year's. We deserve to eat good food, reunite with family and relatives, party with friends, and have the best New Year's countdown. After all, New Year's Eve is one of the most widely celebrated holidays in the world, especially in New York. I'm not going to go through everything, but I'm going to read the key things. Let me zoom in. The New Year's celebration began. The first known record of New Year's celebration began about 2000 BC in Mesopotamia. Again, that's where our ancestors are from. We are of Shemitic stock. This occurred at the time of the vernal equinox in spring, which is toward the end of March. So even our ancient ancestors and those related to us kept the new year and the vernal equinox in March, not January, when it didn't exist. Babylonians would have a religious festival named Akitu, taken from the Sumerian term for barley. They'd perform various rituals which would last for 11 days. Besides celebrating the new year, Atiku also marked the time that Marduk, Babylonian sky god, defeated Tiamat, the evil sea goddess. Meanwhile, for the new year for Persians, Egyptians, and Phoenicians would start in the fall equinox. Greeks used to celebrate the new year during the winter solstice. March 1st is the new year in the early Roman calendar. There were 10 months or 304 days only. Then it was March 1st that marked the new year. Again, when they saw spring come in again, which is in March corresponding to April. So the 9th through the 12 months, or September through December, that we often hear of was called 7th through the 10th months. January 1st is New Year. The origin of January 1st marking the New Year dates back to 46 BCE, when Julius Caesar developed the solar-based Julian calendar. This was after the old lunar-based calendar, Roman calendar, became ineffective. All right, New Year's Eve in the Gregorian calendar occurs on December 31st. In late 1582, Pope Gregory XIII implemented this calendar in Rome. Minimal changes were applied to the Julian calendar introduced by Julius Caesar. As the lunar cycle calendar became a solar year calendar, some days had to be removed as well. So days after October 4th, 1582 were changed to October 15th. You can only imagine what people born on October 5th to the 14th felt. While the Catholic Church followed the Gregorian calendar, other European countries like Germany, Denmark, Russia, and Scotland slowly adapted to it. Today, the Gregorian calendar is also the only one used in different countries. All right, New Year's Eve, different celebrations and traditions. Of course, we don't do any of these things, but to explain what the heathen do. One of the highlights of New Year's Eve is the different kinds of food to be shared with family. 12 grapes at midnight, a popular tradition in Spain, eating 12 grapes on New Year's Eve. That's one grape at each stroke. Whoa. Oh, that's one grape at each stroke of the clock at midnight. These grapes represent the 12 months, and you have to eat all of them to enjoy a lucky year. That's some weirdos. Cakes in Greece, Mexico, the Netherlands, and other countries, the round cake symbolized the circle of life. Others would simply put some trinkets or coins inside the cake. Then, if you're lucky to get it, you're expected to experience good luck in the coming year. Pork, pigs symbolize progress in countries like Austria, Portugal, and Cuba. So eating pork on New Year's Eve is common as a way to attract prosperity for the next 365 days. This is why everybody gets the ham and cooks it. Legumes, like the old Roman coins, symbolize financial prosperity. This is why Italians have lentils and Americans added black-eyed peas to their dishes on New Year's Eve. I'm going to skip noodles. Wearing the right underwear. A few countries, particularly in Latin America, have this superstition that you can manifest success and prosperity if you choose the right color of Okay. Y'all just weird. Another popular New Year's Eve tradition that most people, if not at all, love is the midnight kiss with your partner or even a new friend. Wondering how this part of history of New Year's Eve started? It's thought to be from Saturnalia, a pagan festival in ancient Rome, which involved a lot of singing, dancing, drinking, socializing, sharing gifts, and kissing. In German and English folklore, a midnight kiss is the great way to start the new year, as it would help you bring good luck. Okay. New Year's resolutions, from achieving a healthier body, spending more time with family, and pursuing goals and aspirations to loving ourselves more. We're fond of celebrating New Year's resolutions. However, did you know that this tradition started about 4 millennia ago? Babylonians would make promises to the gods to ask for a better year. Then Romans would also offer sacrifices and promise Janus to show good deeds. These include returning farm tools that they borrowed from others and settling their debts. Meanwhile, Christians treat the occasion as a time to learn their shortcomings in the past year and focus on ways to become better for the upcoming year. While the spiritual side of New Year's resolutions is gone, creating New Year's resolutions has been centered on personal development. I'm going to read these last two. Throwing fireworks. Ringing in the new year also involves throwing fireworks and using different types of noisemakers. If you want to know when or where the firework tradition began, we have to go back to the 7th century AD in China. Fireworks were meant to scare off evil spirits. They're also known to bring prosperity and good luck. Even different designs and colors correspond to the various types of luck, including fertility, love, and health. Keeping doors and windows open. It may be cold on New Year's Eve, so keeping your doors and windows open might not be a good idea. Yeah, especially if you want somebody to rob your house and just come and take your things. Hanging onions on your door. Throwing water out the window, wearing white clothing. Okay, yeah, y'all are weird. I'm gonna stop sharing that. That's it for this. Yeah, that's they some weirdos.
Like, so I can't give it to you.
They said hanging onions at the
the ticket.
Okay. Yeah, y'all some weirdos, bro. Okay, I say Ephraim is heavy on eating. Ephraim does that? Did y'all see the? I read stroke. I was like, whoa. They said the stroke of the clock. I was like, okay.
I was just going to say the same thing.
Yeah, to make the spiritual Babylon, these things still exist. This place is just the daughter of it. That's it. Everything that we're reading about and everything that has been discussed and gone over is nothing revamped and renewed from the ancient world. That's it.
Well,
Reason why nothing is new under the sun. Everything and everyone just come back. So, yeah, good night. Hanging onions is that's crazy. That's crazy. That is wild. Sis Maka, I can't believe Ephraim actually be doing that. Not the grapes. Some people walk around and outside with luggage in hopes they'll travel to New York. What? Oh my gosh. Yeah, unless you want to get your stuff stolen, okay. Yo, people are. This is why we have the law. Just do as the Lord commanded. Don't do anything you feel like doing. That's the problem with humans and tradition. And let me do the, let me for good luck. It don't exist. Just pray. A bunch of weirdos. You taking luggage outside to hopefully get good luck to travel? What kind of tradition is that? Imagine you do. Imagine you do that. You end up broke. You ain't going nowhere for the new year. Yeah, let me take my luggage and my bags outside and look like an idiot, and then bring them back inside and unpack. This is why the Lord says He's angry with the wicked every day. Imagine how the Lord looks at people just doing the utter stupid, just the most asinine things, and we're just like. You imagine only how the Lord feels. You eating 12 grapes before the new year comes in? Let's read some of this. Sister Eggy said Judah just be eating the black-eyed peas, of course. Sister Maya said Kana wear red undergarments for good luck. People are weird. My grandmother did it every year and trying to pass it on to me. Oh my sis, I know she was cursing you out in Spanish. I know she was on the phone with her bonchiche. I know she was saying everything in Spanish too. I know she was. Good answer. I said that earlier. Man, they were trying to force you to eat the black-eyed peas up. They gotta do better. It's always around the holiday. You know what's funny? Now that you're enlightened to the truth and you're keeping, the best of your ability to keep God's law, that's exactly when your family members want to reach out. You want some Christmas gifts? You coming over for Thanksgiving? You want a plate? Y'all know I stopped doing that. Why y'all still reaching out? Sis, all praises. That's what I'm saying. Enough for what? The Maya said they be running in the street. Sis noted, I need to see that then. There's no way. Nah. No. Excuse me. There's no way. No, you're not running. No, I need to see that. You're not running out in the streets with your luggage just because. Oh my gosh. Yo, Sis Makaya, she was. Oh my gosh. She would call me dumb for not following her with. See, the fact you had to hear the Spanish, I know it hurts more, sis. Don't worry. Your family in the truth here at Ram Gadal Gabaryam, we got you. And I said black-eyed peas with coins at the bottom. What kind of traditions are these people keeping? Aliyah said the only thing I can remember is whatever you do on the New Year Eve is what you'll be doing that year, even or who you with. God. Sega said black-eyed peas and greens. I didn't eat none of it because I didn't like it. Well, all praises. I can't even believe that that's even tradition, which is why I brought out the article. She said, yeah, heavy on the eggnog and the liquor. Of course, the drinking, the tradition, nothing new under the sun. Maybe like, I know you don't celebrate Christmas, but Merry Christmas. See, it's the conviction in the spirit is what I'm talking about. You know I don't celebrate Christmas. Why are you going to send a text anyway? Kwam said, I just don't even communicate at all during the folly day. Good. Yeah, that's a good point. Let's call it the folly days, not the holidays. Kwam. Dear Black Hebrews. Yo, it's a Kwam, man. This Panya said, I still have the audacity to say, Lord. Oh my gosh. Since they said greens is for. No, it's like Thanksgiving, how the foods represent the atrocities that happened to our Gadite and Reubenite brethren. Like, really? Like, everything boils down. The greens represent the... Come on. Come on. Allah said, you are them peas if you wanted to eat along with fried chicken and okra. See, this is exactly why the Lord is angry every single day. Black-eyed peas at the bottom is the penny. If you got the coin, good luck. Good night. Who put them in there, man? Come on. It's just like when on Easter, because they keep Easter, of course, a remixed pagan tradition of Passover. They go hide the eggs and they go tell them to find eggs. You put them there. And bunnies don't lay eggs. That's a fact. Listen, do what Sis Makaya said and leave them on unread. Don't even read the message. Leave them on unread. Zaquan said my grandmother had to have a man be the first one to walk through the door with money in the yo Zaquan. Yo. Good night, man. I want you to just understand, like, now that you're in the truth and now that you're keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, just how ridiculous that sounds. You putting metal with food and telling that person that's good luck. What if you bit on it and you broke your tooth? Like you... Yo, Yusuf, I'm trying not to, man. It's like, y'all, it's bad enough. We got to read about what the heathen do and what the world's doing. There's no way we as a people remix it. And you, come on. You putting coins in food, you could possibly break your teeth. You calling that tradition a good luck. Is it good luck if I chew on the coin and my teeth, a tooth or teeth might crack from it? Allah said, having a man come through the first door in the new year for... Oh, my Lord. That's like the baby and the Mardi Gras cake. Oh, my gosh. This is just like the babies on Valentine's Day. It's ridiculous. My sister's husband has a Native American card and was celebrating Thanksgiving. I had to tell her, how you celebrating the death of his ancestors? Absolutely. Where's that at in the Bible? Let's celebrate the death, destruction, and the pillaging of our brothers and sisters. 12 grapes for the 12 tribes. And also 12 grapes for the 12 months, but it's... Yeah, New Orleans, the tradition and the Mardi Gras, we know what goes down there. We know what goes on down there. A little bit of history on Louisiana. The French government at the time, because Napoleon and the French government were trying to get a hand in the United States, or the states and the colonies at that time, they paid Frenchmen to have sex and sleep with prostitutes to repopulate the colony. So you guys understand. They paid men to sleep with prostitutes and ship them over to Louisiana to repopulate the colony. So you guys understand. So the Mardi Gras and the sexual deviancy and revelry that goes on out there, particularly at those festivals, it's just nothing. Okanalea. Sis Panyas, I seen a quote that said it's not about the new year, but about the one that makes all things new. This is how Christians try to justify themselves celebrating today. Listen, wish them a happy fake pagan year. That's it. Happy pagan year. This is just another day for us. Our new year is in the spring. When we have Passover, the earth comes back to life and we mark our deliverance. Again, all the world's holidays, all the world's holidays are just an unrighteous, terrible remix of what the Bible is in its righteousness and in its holiness. That's it. That's it. I just can't believe some of the traditions you guys outlined. That's ridiculous. You putting gold coins in people's food, 12 grapes, hanging the onion. It's crazy. I still can't get over the possible messing up your teeth for good luck. Imagine somebody putting gold coins in your food and they tell you that's good luck. Well, if I break my tooth, can I break yours? And let's call it even. We just got to hold on. It's almost Passover time again, man. We'll all be together. We'll all be united as a family once again, as an organization. Camp is just, I can't believe you guys really outlined those traditions. That's wild. Especially you got family members that know you don't celebrate it and they're still reaching out. Just wanted to wish you a Happy New Year. It's dead winter. The earth does not even agree with that statement. Yeah, excellent point, they can have this. This is not for Israelites. They can definitely have this. This is not for us. These traditions, everything we got to keep. This is not for us. It's ridiculous. All right. So, again, beside that, that will be tonight's class. If there's any questions, comments, concerns anyone has, put them in the chat. But again, the Passover is coming up soon. That's the next goal for all of us. We have we're in January. Next 3 months, roughly, April 3rd, Hey, Kwam, you have to look because you got to see what these heathen are doing, man, because they tell you something. Y'all do that on New Year. It's like what you guys have told me. You putting coins in my food. And I bite it. We're fighting. That's interesting to know. There's no way you putting coins in my food. I have to eat a grape every day, which is weird. That's a weird tradition. I believe the brother Kashat, he mentioned the eggnog. The sis Makaya did too, the eggnog and the liquor. Revelry, drunkenness, of course, it's ridiculous, what they'll do during this time and during this holiday. So all right. Well, that will be it. Until next time, everyone. This concludes this class. All right. Ahmadim Mapandimakudam, rise and face the east. This is Psalm chapter 119. This is Ha. It says, teach me, O Lord, the way of thy statutes, and I shall keep it unto the end. Give me understanding, and I shall keep thy law. Yea, I shall observe it with my whole heart. Make me to go in the path of thy commandments, for therein do I delight. Incline my heart unto thy testimonies, and not to covetousness. Turn away mine eyes from beholding vanity, and quicken thou me in thy way. Establish thy word unto thy servant who is devoted to thy fear. Turn away my reproach which I fear, for thy judgments are good. Behold, I have longed after thy precepts. Quicken me in thy righteousness. In the name of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi, the water from Yad, Aman. All right, to everyone, shalom, shalom, la ilaha tawah.